Okay, my microphone stopped working halfway through a video. Yay, it's 12 a.m. Woo. I've been talking for 30 minutes straight. It's amazing. I love this. So my consensus is Kazuha, yes. Mualani, maybe. Let's talk about it. So Kazuha, I'm just going to immediately say yes. The reason why you want to summon for Kazuha is because he's Kazuha, all right? He's giving a load of buffs. You don't want to summon for his constellations because, his constellations aren't really that good. They can be replaced by, elemental mastery. And his C2 is fairly expensive when you compare it to the buff that you can get from his actual weapon. And then this weapon, I mean, it's a pretty good weapon. I mean, if you summon for this weapon banner and you have Mualani and you already have Kazuha, right? This would be a pretty good weapon banner to summon on because if you lose like the 50-50 from the 75-70 or 75-25, then, hey, then you can summon for little Surf's Up guy, right? It can work. It can definitely work, and it's definitely cool. Kazuha isn't necessarily a character you want to use with Mualani from my understanding. Neither is Bennett, which is something that is weird. All right, so let's talk about Mualani. Mualani is a character that I am very concerned about because characters with small AoE do not generally last long, right? We've seen this with Yoimiya, with Hu Tao. Hu Tao before Senyun was absolutely not in the top 10 DPSs. Now that Hu Tao has proper, AoE and she can do damage, she is really up there. She is, like, no question about it. Like, she's actually up there, no matter what you say. Mualani has barely any AoE. It could be bad for her. But then we also have to worry about, the Pyro Archon. I'm thinking that this is going to be a Nevi situation, right? So, you know how Nevi comes out, and it's like, oh, well, everyone saw how broken Nevi was. All right, let's be real. But we were like, okay, well, Furina's going to come out. She's going to be a support, right? Because everyone looked at it and was like, okay, Nevi, Furina, right? Same thing with Alhaitham. You had Alhaitham, and then you had Nahida, right? And Raiden, they didn't really do that pattern with, and neither did they do with Venti or Zhongli, just because they were sort of, they didn't have that pattern set in stone. But they do like releasing DPSs. Now, it could very much be that Mualani will work amazing with the Pyro Archon. It could be very, very much so, like, Pyro Archon, absolutely amazing for Mualani, right? Increases her damage so much that her AoE doesn't matter. It could happen. I don't want to get your hopes up, but it could happen. But then we could also see the other opposite end where it's like, sure, Mualani's buffed, but it's not really that much because it's sort of like a Lenny situation where he already was pretty good. And then we have, Pyro Archon come on, and then, yeah, sure, Lenny plus Furina is pretty good, but not, we have to see the Pyro Archon skip, which is why I think maybe saving would be wise, right? We could see these characters rerun decently fast. I don't want to say like super fast, but it did only take Nevi like 4 updates to get a rerun. Like, he came out 4.1, and then in 4.5 he had his rerun, I'm pretty sure. So it could only be until 3 or 5.4 that we see these characters get the rerun. But then we do also have Lenny, who reran in 4.6, which was 6 total updates. So it could be 4 updates, could be 6 total updates. We would have to see. But I do think that Mualani and Kinich are definitely worrying due to their lack of AoE. I just want to say that now. I do not have a lot of faith in characters that are going to be very few in their AoE. They just don't last. There's a reason why Nilou is lasted as long as she does. In terms of like her DPS on solo, it's not really that good. But when you're talking about AoE DPS, then she's really good, right? So I'm very concerned for, Mualani's, AoE. And as for her weapon, we just have to wait till we see C1, we just have to wait for the spreadsheet warriors to give us the answers on, like, if her weapon is going to be better than her C1. I'm imagining that her C1 is going to be better just due to having that R5, Jade weapon in the Battle Pass. Personally, that's what I'll use because the Battle Pass is actually a really good value, especially now with the artifact thing, in. I think if you're going to spend money on the game, you buy the Welkin and then the Battle Pass next. I think that is generally what it should be. And maybe you could even just use R1, Jade weapon thing. I don't even think that's her best weapon as a 4-star, though. But overall, this weapon banner is also decent, right? It's got Freedom Sworn and Surf's Up. It's pretty good. Depends just on what your taste is, whether you want to buy the Battle Pass, which I think you probably should at least, a couple times, just due to the amount of resources that you get. I actually have never thought that I had more resources ever Like after buying the battle pass, there are so many resources in there. The books, all of the stuff is insane. So yeah, that was my thoughts on it. I just feel like overall Mualani is very scary to summon on, and I don't think that people should really, unless they really like the character and aren't really upset if she falls off at all, right? So a lot of people don't understand how good a character can like affect your enjoyment, right? Because I do not even know Arlecchino in the story. I'm gonna be honest. She is not a character I know about at all in the story. I am at the prison right now. I have not heard, I mean, I've heard of her, right? I've heard of the father, but I've never seen Arlecchino. She's not been in the story at all. I purely like Arlecchino because she is so strong. That is literally my favorite character in the game, is purely because she is dumb strong. I don't have to try with her, and she's actually busted. Whereas, you know, if Mualani is like a cool character, I'm gonna really start hating on her when she falls off, because I don't really like Mualani. We haven't seen her. I don't like necessarily her aesthetic, right? It's an alright aesthetic, but I feel like people do underrate the effect a character's power can have on your feelings towards that character, right? Shinha, she fell off, bro. I hate that character, but not in the story. It is completely different playing the character and seeing them in the story. I love Klee. You can go back into my videos and you can see me freak out when Klee pulled up on that ship, bro. I still remember that memory. I was like so happy that Klee was there. I was like, oh my god, I didn't expect that. And like, if I actually ever played Klee, I would be like, I would hate her every single moment. I'd be so sad because it's like this cute little girl that always appears in the story. It's cute, fun, and then she's awful. I can't do it. I can't summon for Klee because of that reason. I would hate her. I know I would. But yeah, I feel like people do underrate the effect a character's power can have on their, you know, enjoyment of that character overall, right? And it's the same thing with Nevi, right? I didn't care about him until I saw him shoot a giant laser beam. I did not look at his gameplay at all before. So yeah, I just want to say that before you go in and start summoning on Mualani, if she falls off, I mean, I told you so. All right, buddy. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.